Good evening, everyone. I thought I'd do an update on the chickens. It's my Rhode and red rooster. Isn't he gorgeous? And one of my hens. It's one of my other hens. Yeah, this pen. Unfortunately, I'm stuck with having these three in a stationary coop at the moment, which is not the ideal thing that I would be striving for. Generally, I like to have chickens in that kind of mobile pen, but I have too many chickens and not enough mobile pens at the moment. So I'm stuck with these guys and girls, in here at the moment. And it has been a long time since I've put any more bedding in here, which is a really big problem. For one, it increases the parasite load on the birds, it increases the smell, and it's generally not good for their health. So what I've done today, I've only done two barrow loads so far, but it's certainly a start because we've had a bit of rain too, so it got really mucky in here. So I've put down a couple of inches. Ideally, I want to go for at least 2 to 3 inches of wood chips in here as a bedding for these lovely chickens. And the advantage of, there are so many advantages to that. One, you've got the chickens making you amazing compost, and you can speed that up a huge amount if you've got the time to mound it up every couple of days, and have about a cubic meters worth of compost in here. I don't have that time or physical capacity at the moment, so at the moment we're going the slow way. But so the chickens will create an amazing, beautiful compost in here over time. The other advantages, especially of the wood chips, is the wood chips have a very high breakdown ratio, unlike hay, which is what I put down in here last time. Hay basically will break down incredibly quickly, whereas wood chips takes a much longer time. I think it's something like the difference between the carbon to nitrogen ratio is something like 1 to 2 with hay, whereas it's like 1 to 250 or something like that. Don't quote me. I'll try and find the figures and put them down in the description. But the wood chips lasts a lot longer. The wood chips also are a fantastic home for fungus, and lots of different other bacteria. And when you've got it really thick, you get a chance to create a really, really good biology and ecosystem in there, which not only helps to give the chickens a good bedding and provide them a nice environment, but it also provides a food source for them. So they find all sorts of interesting things in the wood chips, and they dig it up and they scratch it up and they aerate, which is why it makes such fantastic compost. So yeah, my biggest tip that I can give when raising chickens is get wood chips now be careful on the type of wood chips you get. Now out here, our landscape supply actually calls this leaf litter, because it's actually got the entire tree in it. You do not want just the bark. You definitely do not want anything that's treated. You want to have it so that it's got all sorts of different sizes and shapes, so it's not all the same. There's no uniformity. It's got all sorts of different bits and pieces in there, and it just makes an absolutely fantastic compost once the chickens have gone through with it. And it's going to be, if I have this 3 to 4 inches thick, then it'll be even longer before I have to clean out the bed again. And these lovely chickens will have a lovely, healthy environment still. But it is really, really important to have the deep bedding. Otherwise, you've got a really big job having to muck out the chicken house daily, just about. And chickens can produce an awful lot of manure. But yeah, these guys and girls are going to be a lot happier now, and I've still got a lot to do, but I reached my capacity today with doing 2 wheelbarrow loads full of the wood chips. So I'll probably put in another, ideally I'd want another 8 loads of wood chips in here. That's my goal, and yes, hopefully it'll probably take me about a week to get there, and that's depending on how my neck and shoulders held out. They have been actually having a lot of problems with them lately. The whiplash is still causing me some grief. So anyway, but what can you do? You just work with what you got and take it bits and pieces at a time. But I was asked for an update on the chickens, so those are the Rhode Island Reds. They're doing okay. I have lost a few whilst my son's been looking after them while I haven't been able to. But yeah, and they're not laying at the moment, but part of that's because I had them on the really cheap feed, and most of that was because my son was just learning and looking after them, and we had a few incidents. So at the moment I didn't want to be inundated with eggs. So yes, anyway, that's a chicken update. Those are the Rhode Island Reds. And I've got some roosters there that need to go to freezer camp. And I've got some more roosters on the other side that still need to go to freezer camp that have not made it yet. The guinea fowl are in their own little pen. My plan is to actually have them shifted out into one of the paddocks so that that can be their permanent home. So they'll run around in there instead of destroying my garden in here. I've got another one of my mobile pens over there with my white chickens in it. Oh, and I've got the mobile pen over there. I'm just moving it around the yard at the moment. So they do make a bit of a mess initially, but then it comes back beautifully. I mean, I've got too much grass at the moment, and I'm about to put the electric fence around this area so that the goats can clean it all up, and then the chickens can go through again, which will make the grass grow more. And then I'll bring the chickens and the goats back through again. It's all a bit of a cycle, really. But yeah, that's the chickens. I haven't been hatching any eggs lately, and most of that is because we're just not set up here yet. We're not prepared for hatching chicks and all that sort of stuff. And last time we tried to incubate some with the extreme weather variants that we have here, I just didn't get a very good hatch rate. So I'm yet to work on some solutions for that. But yeah, so not hatching any chicks at the moment, but we will get back into that at some point. Just not today. Anyway, that's deep bedding and the chickens. Deep bedding is really, really, really important for the chickens, and it is so beneficial to their health. And it's much better on my back. So yes, if you're going to have chooks in a stationary pen, have really deep bedding. It is really important that they are not on a bare dirt yard, because that is incredibly bad for their health, and it increases their parasite load, and that increases the risk of you having dirty eggs and not well chickens. So yeah, a really good way to know if you've got parasites is if your eggs are dirty. And it's also really important, if you do have chickens in a stationary pen, to give them fresh grass. A couple of blades of fresh grass each day is actually enough to keep most chickens really healthy. It's the antiviral, antibacterial, antioxidant properties in the grass for chickens is just outstanding. It really does make a huge difference to their health. So yeah, anyway, my elderberry, it's not dead. That one's doing better, which is actually surprising because that's where all the dead fish were put. So it may have just been too much of a nutrient fix. I'm not sure. It was a bit of an experiment more than anything. And looks like my choco's starting to come up there too. I have no idea where that bit of baling twine came from. But yes, that's one of my chocos coming up. That comfrey over there seems to have died, but that one seems to be okay. Yes, elderberries are also a great plant to have around chickens because of the nutrient levels in them. So yeah, looking forward to when these are doing well. And honestly, I probably should have trimmed that one back. I was a bit rough on it when I transplanted it from the aquaponics, but I'll leave some links up there to the aquaponics playlists, and I'll probably find one for the goats as well. with all sorts of interesting things. But thanks for watching, and I hope you found this interesting and useful. And I'd love to hear how your chickens are going. Have a great one. Bless you.